Brought to you by...
I have only begun to become familiar with the work of YouTuber and filmmaker Curry Barker after checking out his feature Milk and Cereal. However, since then I've begun to explore his work further, and have started to see a filmmaker with both tremendous talent and vision. He explores themes that are not only engaging, but psychologically weighted, which makes them all the more compelling for a little guy who likes to dive deeply into what makes a good film tick. Enigma, directed by Curry Barker and penned by Cooper Tomlinson, is a 20-minute psychological drama that delves into the existential struggles of Adam, a young man confronting the imminent end of the world. The narrative centers on Adam's journey to find meaning as time gradually dwindles. At its core, Enigma embodies the existential questions that arise when life loses its perceived purpose. Adam is placed in a situation where the end is not just inevitable, but rapidly approaching, forcing him to confront what many avoid thinking about: what truly matters in the face of death. From a psychological standpoint, his journey mirrors Viktor Frankl's concept of logotherapy, which suggests that human beings strive to find meaning even in suffering. Adam's initial hopelessness reflects the existential vacuum, a state where life feels devoid of meaning. Yet, as the film progresses, we see his attempts to reclaim a sense of purpose, whether through indulging in simple pleasures or contemplating deeper, more emotional aspects of his life. He undergoes a transition from despair to a form of acceptance. Adam's loneliness is another crucial psychological theme. Human beings are inherently social creatures, and isolation often exacerbates feelings of despair. The film portrays Adam as someone who's grappling with the realization that, at the end of the world, he has no meaningful relationships left to hold on to. His solitude intensifies his existential dread, as loneliness is not just a physical state, but a psychological burden that deepens self-doubt and regret. Research in psychology suggests that loneliness can lead to cognitive distortions, negative thoughts that reinforce a cycle of isolation and worthlessness. If Adam had meaningful human connections, his reaction to the end of the world might have been different. Instead, he is forced to make peace with himself, highlighting the importance of self-acceptance in the face of ultimate uncertainty. Adam's character also aligns with common symptoms of depression, hopelessness, an inability to experience pleasure, and rumination over past decisions. His journey could be interpreted as a metaphor for clinical depression, where an individual struggles to find a reason to keep moving forward. The film does not explicitly diagnose Adam, but his actions reflect the internal battles many face when dealing with mental health struggles. Moreover, the film explores the weight of regret, what one chooses to reflect on when faced with mortality. Psychologically, regret often intensifies when an individual believes they have lost the ability to change their circumstances. Adam, knowing that time is running out, is forced to confront the question, was my life well lived? The film does not provide easy answers, but it invites the audience to reflect on their own unresolved emotions. As the film progresses, Adam undergoes a subtle transformation. His actions, though seemingly small, symbolize a shift from despair to a form of quiet acceptance. This aligns with Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of grief, particularly the final stage, acceptance. He moves past denial, anger, bargaining, and depression to reach a state where he understands that life, even in its final moments, can still be lived. This shift is crucial from a psychological perspective. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It signifies coming to terms with one's existence. Adam's journey, though melancholic, offers a form of resolution, suggesting that meaning can still be found, even when time is running out. The ticking clock was the most crucial aspect of the narrative for me, a device that imposes an unavoidable deadline on the protagonist, intensifying tension and emotional weight. In this film, the end of the world is not just a backdrop. It is an ever-present force shaping Adam's mental state, decisions, and ultimate fate. A ticking clock fundamentally alters human psychology. In real life, we often avoid deep reflection and morality, believing we have time to change, improve, or fix our regrets. But when time is running out, existential dread becomes immediate. For Adam, the countdown strips away illusions. There is no future to hope for, no long-term plans to distract him. He is left alone with his thoughts, forced to confront his life as it stands. This pressure amplifies emotions, regret, despair, and, at times, fleeting joy. Every action he takes is colored by the knowledge that it will be one of his last. The film subtly mirrors psychological theories on death anxiety, showing how people cope with impending mortality through denial, avoidance, or, in Adam's case, moments of resigned acceptance. The countdown to the end of the world structures this film in a way that prevents the story from being passive. Even though Adam is not engaging in high-stakes action, the knowledge that time is running out gives his small actions a deeper weight. The film doesn't specify the exact amount of time left, which adds to the ambiguity. Is it hours? We know that it's counting the days. How many hours does he have left? This lack of clarity forces Adam and the audience to exist in the moment a bit. His actions feel more improvised and instinctual, rather than planned out. Instead of a grand final mission, he drifts through his last days, reinforcing the idea that real people rarely react to existential doom in cinematic ways. As the film progresses, the tension shifts from external to internal. The ticking clock becomes a countdown, not just to destruction, but to Adam's personal reckoning. This approach aligns with the classic dramatic structure of a race against time, but instead of physical survival, Adam is racing against time to find meaning before the end. The most obvious thematic function of this ticking clock is as a metaphor for human mortality. Unlike other apocalyptic films where characters attempt to change their fate, Adam is left with no such option. The world will end, just as every life eventually reaches its conclusion. So the film asks, what do we do with the time that we have left? Adam's passive, almost resigned behavior suggests that when confronted with absolute certainty, many people don't fight or seek closure. They simply wait. This aligns with a real-world psychology of terminal illness, where many patients go through the stages of denial. The ticking clock also magnifies Adam's regrets. With no future left, he can only look backward. This is reflected in his body language. He is often still, staring into space, suggesting he is trapped in memory. The minimal dialogue reinforces that his internal struggle is more important than any external event. There's the small, meaningless actions that he takes, which may be an attempt to distract himself from reflection. The film challenges the idea that meaning has to come from a grand purpose. As the clock winds down, Adam's experience becomes about small moments rather than big revelations. The ice cream scene, for example, represents an act of pure present tense indulgence. In a world where nothing matters, pleasures and experiences can still have value. His final moments suggests that meaning is not about legacy, but about how we spend the time we are given. Beyond story and themes, the film uses visual and auditory elements to make the audience feel the passage of time. Static shots and slow pacing emphasize the weight of each moment, making time feel heavy and oppressive. Long pauses and silence force the audience to sit in Adam's discomfort, mirroring his slow wait for the inevitable. A minimalist soundtrack avoids bombastic scoring, keeping the tone intimate and personal, reflecting how death is ultimately a solitary experience. Lighting and cinematography shift subtly, moving from slightly warm tones to more muted gray hues as the film progresses, suggesting time running out. Throughout this film, the ticking clock is not just a plot device. It's the essence of the film's emotional and psychological weight. It forces Adam to confront who he is without a future, whether meaning is something we find or something we lose when time runs out, or if the end of the world is truly different from the end of one's life, or if they are inherently the same. By keeping the focus intimate rather than grand, Enigma presents an apocalyptic narrative that feels deeply personal, making the ticking clock resonate not as a doomsday device, but as a reminder that everyone, in their own way, is running out of time. This is a powerful meditation on the fragility of human existence, loneliness, and the desperate search for purpose. Through Adam's psychological journey, the film taps into universal fears and emotions, what we value, what we regret, and how we choose to spend our final moment. Barker and Tomlinson craft a story that is not just about the end of the world, but about the personal reckoning that comes when one is forced to confront the life they've lived. From a psychological lens, Enigma serves as both a cautionary tale and a poignant reminder that the search for meaning is what defines us, even in the face of oblivion. Well, friends, that's going to be all for now. If you'd like to check out this film for yourself, I've linked it down below. Curry Barker's work is often compelling, and I think it's worth giving a watch. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe for more content, and if you'd like to help support the channel, you can find us on Patreon. Your support there helps this channel grow, it helps the archive grow, and gets us closer to that goal of being able to make videos for you like this full time. Until next time, stay safe. Cherish each moment like it's your last. And as always, thanks for watching.